Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar. I welcome her to this afternoon session. Before going towards her formal introduction, I would request all participants to open their camera. सभी पार्टिसिपेंट अपने कैमरा ओपन रखें. एटलीस्ट लेक्चर के स्टार्ट में एक 5-7 मिनट के लिए भी तो आप अपने कैमरा ओपन रखें ताकि हमारा जो पूरा स्ट्रेंथ है वो दिख कर आए. और आप सभी से मेरी उम्मीद है कि नियर अबाउट जब तक के लेक्चर पूरा कंप्लीट नहीं होता है, जब सभी आप ऑनलाइन रहें. ये 2 सत्र रहेंगे मैडम के. पहला सत्र रहेगा, उसके बाद में एक 15 मिनट 20 मिनट का एक ब्रेक लेंगे, उसके बाद में दूसरा सत्र रहेगा. Anita Sharma ma'am, she is a member of General Council of NCRT, then also Technical Board member, Bureau of Indian Standard, then Governing Body member, UEEM, Universalization of Elementary Education, Government of India, then member Curriculum Committee of CBSE, then National Coordinator Curriculum Bharatiya Shiksha Board, then represented India in UNESCO meet held in South Korea way back in the year 2015, then represented India in climate reality leadership meet held in USA way back in the year 2018. Then she has authored 11 books of mathematics with Encyclopedia Britannica and S. Chand. Authored the books Science and Art of Happy Living book, unveiling the teaching of Lord Krishna for youth. Then also Lifetime Achievement Award she has achieved from Aryabhat Samman for contribution in mathematics education by All India Ramanujan Mathematics Club. Then also Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya Award she was had been conferred on her uh, for educationist reform of India for contribution in education at grassroots level. Then also she has received President Grant to celebrate legacy of eminent mathematician Shrivanas Ramanujan. Then also member of National Focus Group, New Education Policy, Mathematics Education to prepare National Curriculum Framework. Then also have contributed in more than 200 document, textbook, manuals, etc. prepared by CBSE, NCRT, NIOS, DST, and also ideator and material developer for CBSE International Curriculum Mathematics. So again, I welcome you, ma'am, to this afternoon session of this UGC Malviya Mission Teachers Training Program, National Education Policy Orientation and Sensitization course. Now I would hand over the session to Anita Sharma, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. And thank you for inviting me to have the interaction with the esteemed faculty members. So the topic today, can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
और पार्टिसिपेंट म्यूट है मैम, थोड़ा डिस्टर्बेंस हो जाता है माइक की वजह से, तो वो सिर्फ चैट में आपसे सवाल करेंगे.
Oh, no,
They are
no
totally
problems,
muted.
no
They are
problems.
totally.
Okay. So the topic given to me today is student diversity and inclusion. And this is very important in today's scenario. I have taken the liberty to extend the topic further. And for me, this is now student diversity and inclusion in embracing differences and fostering equity. So why the topic is extended or elaborated further, you will appreciate that with the due course of time. So I would like you can write in the chat box that what do you think of student diversity in your classrooms? All of you are meeting every day a group of students. So what kind of diversities you are observing in your classrooms? You can write in the chat box. Students come from different linguistic background. Dr. Kamran has written this. And then understanding religion, multilinguistic. Okay, any other learning diversity? So everybody has fair idea that our classrooms, they are always consisting of the diverse group of learners, and the diversity can be reflected in 4 forms. One could be the ethnicity, that means they can belong to different race, caste, class, and region. Another is in terms of gender, there could be male, female, transgender, and so on. And then cultural diversity is also there, because some of you have talked about the linguistics, you have talked about the religion, you have talked about the various cultural traditions followed at home. And then there is another most important is the abilities. So somebody wrote understanding here. Now, abilities can be of different types. There could be the super abilities, there could be the specific abilities, there could be the special needs also, which we generally call as the disabilities. But that this was a word which was previously taken as disabilities. Now, instead of disability, we use the word children with special needs. So there could be several type of possibilities in the classroom. So we should understand that what is diversity. So to whatever group we are dealing with, we know that the people are coming from the different communities. They may the diversity can encompass a range of attributes, and it is not limited to the race or ethnicity or gender or age or socioeconomic status, abilities, and cultural background. So everything could be included. But when the diversity is there, the practice of inclusion is very much required. Now, when we say, I think somebody is, uh, please don't try to write anything. So annotations can be stopped by someone who is admin. So inclusion means
Ma'am,
practice of.
you are a co-host. This is just due to some network error. I think that these
नहीं
pencils
नहीं,
are
वो
down.
आपको जिसने भी ये बनाया है ना, लिंक बनाया, आप देखिए एनोटेशन को स्टॉप कर दीजिए। मैं
जी 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 जी, ठीक।
चेक करती हूँ इफ आई कैन डू इट, लेकिन अगर
Yes, yes.
आपके एंड पे शायद ज्यादा इसी है करना हो।
Or else we can make you a co-host also, no issue.
हाँ, so, inclusion means the practice where everyone is ensured that according to their abilities, according to their needs, they will be involved in every activity, every task which is conducted by the group, and everyone will have the sense of belongingness. So, active and meaningful involvement of every person in the group or community should be there. So, in the school situations, in the college situations, in the classroom situations, it is very important that we shall, as a teacher, create an environment which embraces diversity and values each individual, promoting equal opportunities and respect. So, equal opportunities and respect is very, very important here. Then is equity. Equity goes beyond equal treatment, and this aims to provide a person with the specific resources, opportunity, and support the need to succeed based on their individual circumstances. So I said in earlier that according to the person's competencies or potential, he should be given the task. So we cannot expect the same thing from everybody. Okay, so the concept of ensuring fairness and justice should be there by acknowledging and by appreciating and addressing the unique needs and circumstances of the individuals. So annotation was opened in my box only. So what we will do, we will try to understand the inclusion in 5 stages. Because if we really want to follow anything, any practice in our learning environment, so we should be very clear what is the vision and the philosophy in our education documents. So nowadays we all know that we are following National Education Philosophy 20 National Education Policy 2020. So whatever vision and philosophy is given regarding the equity and inclusion, we should be aware of that and we must try to follow that. Then what are the legal provisions? So we should be well acquainted with the legislations. So like in our country, we have a Rehabilitation Council of India Act 1992. We have a Person with Disability Act 1995. We have National Trust Act 1999. And we have Rights of Persons with Disability Act 2016. So the legislative position should also be very, very clear. Then the next step is that institutional analysis has to be done, and institutional analysis can be done in three ways. One is the infrastructural requirements. Are we able to cater to every person with his according to his needs, infrastructure wise? Then administrative strategies to address everyone's need. So infrastructure, what kind of infrastructure improvement is required, what kind of curriculum is followed, what kind of opportunities are available, opportunities of learning and opportunities of employment. So employability opportunities also has to be seen. And then what can be the last step is what could be the academic improvement strategies. So there should be right kind of courses, choice of subjects in the particular stream, and the resources which are available in your library or otherwise, whatever pedagogical strategies are required. So those pedagogical strategies shall be given to everyone. And uh, according to those strategies, encouragement, enhancement and engagement, all the three, they should be made possible for every type of learner in the classroom. So let us first start with the policy vision. Now our policy starts with the word equitable and inclusion education in the NEP. So I would like to give a quote by Desmond Tutu. This says, inclusive good quality education is foundation for dynamic and equitable societies. Nowadays, we are talking about the Viksit Bharat 2047. And I was going through a report, and that report says that if in India we are able to include all type of people in the economic activities, then the India's GDP can be raised by 16%. So that could be possible only when everybody is empowered with particular skills, with special skills, and everybody has the right to work. So that all could be achieved only when the good quality education can be given to them. So in today's scenario, equity and equitable words, they have become more important. Now, vision document says that education is fundamental for achieving full human potential, developing an equitable and just society, and promoting national development. So this is written in the very first paragraph of the national education policy, that providing universal access to quality education is the key to India's continued ascent, leadership on the global stage in terms of economic growth, social justice and equality, scientific advancement, national integration, and cultural preservation. So we all agree with this, that if the India wants to attain the position of the Vishwa Guru, then there should be the equality of opportunity for everybody. Second paragraph says in the policy document, and this is all this is quoted from the right from the first page. The second paragraph says the global education development agenda reflected in the goal 4 SDG 4. So in the sustainable development goal 4, all of you must be aware that what are the sustainable development goals. It has been observed that there are 17 basic problems which are faced by every country. And if the world wants to move in the next development phase, then these 17 problems has to be addressed by all the countries. So there was an agreement, and in that those 17 goals were charted. And out of those 17 goals, one is goal number 4, which is actually this goal number 4 ensures inclusive and equitable quality education for everybody. So India has taken this decision that we will be trying to seek this by 2030. So our goal as our nation is that, and this was adopted by India in 2015. So in the next 15 years, there was a pledge to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong opportunities for all by 2030. Now, out of those 15 years, now only 6 years are left with us. So we all should be able to understand that how we all can do this collectively. Then the third point which is written there is education is a great leveler. It is clearly mentioned there that education is the great leveler and it is best tool for achieving this economic independence, social mobility, inclusion and equality. Even in the principles of the National Education Policy 2020, it is mentioned that respect for diversity and respect for the local context in the curriculum, pedagogy, and policy, always keeping in mind that education is a concurrent subject. Now, this simply means that we understand that the diversity exists in our classroom. We have also understood that diversity may be in the form of the language, in the form of the cultural traditions which are being followed in a particular community. So this means although the syllabus may be same for all, but while teaching, there is a need to see that how the local examples or the local context can be made part of the curriculum or the classroom pedagogies. Second point is full equity and inclusion as the cornerstone of all educational decision to ensure that all students are able to thrive in the education system. So for us, the inclusion and equity means that everybody should have opportunity to thrive and just not to attain the average performance, but this should be according to their own potential. Then there is a section 6 in the policy which talks at length about the equitable and the inclusive education, learning for all. And in this section, the detailed provisions are described. So let me just first share with you section 6.1. It says that education is the single greatest tool for achieving social justice and equality. And then it says an inclusive and equitable society in which every citizen has the opportunity to dream, thrive, and contribute to the nation. So one more thing is very clear from this particular line, that one is that everybody has the right to dream the best for them. Second is everybody should get opportunity to thrive. And the third is everybody shall be prepared to contribute to the nation. So that means we should be able to develop them into the significant uh, contributing citizens for our country. Then the second point is to ensure that no child loses any opportunity to learn and excel because of the circumstances of birth or background. And the third important point is to bridge the social category gaps in access, participation, and the learning outcomes in the school education. But whatever is written for the school education is again repeated in the next section for the university education also. So I will be addressing lots of things, taking into the school context because my background is from the school education, but all these are applicable for the university education also. In fact, this is going to help to understand the concept from the very base, that what is happening in the schools and what more is to be done in the at the level of the higher education. So the first thing is the first group which is addressed is socially economically disadvantaged group. So SEDGs will be formed, and this means this socially economic disadvantaged group can be on the basis of the gender, they can be on the basis of the cultural identities, they are also on the basis of the geographical identities. Some of the children may belong to the very remote areas, tribal areas, very small towns and villages and the aspirational districts. Then this SEDGs, they will also be identified on the basis of the disabilities. We already spoke about the kind of disabilities, but here the disability is a umbrella term because this includes physical disabilities, learning disabilities, intellectual disabilities, all sorts of disabilities has to be taken into consideration here. And then there could be a socio-economic conditions. Sometimes there are children from the migrant communities. There are children who belong to the low income households, and they may have to help their parents in uh, by working in the other houses or in the small factories or so on. Then children may be children from the vulnerable situations. In this, victims of the children of the child trafficking, orphans, including child beggars in the urban areas, urban poor. So these kind of uh, students, these kind of children, they're always vulnerable to be victimized, and they are also the part of the SEDGs. So that means to consider anybody in as a part of the socially disadvantaged groups, we have to look about the five kind of possibilities, whether it is according to the gender or to the socio-cultural identities or the geographical or the disabilities or the socio-economic conditions. Now, what kind of provisions the policy says has made? So they have taken on the basis of the data collected by the government. They observe that there are certain geographical areas which contain more of the socio-economic disadvantaged group children. So these geographical areas, these geographical locations, they will be identified as the aspirational district. And this simply means that these kind of areas, they require special intervention for promoting their education development. So it is recommended that region of the country with large populations from the educationally disadvantaged, they will be considered as they will be declared as the special education zones, SEZs. And for these special education zones, different kind of schemes and policies will be made, and optimal facilities has to be provided in these areas. So, for example, now what kind of facilities could be there? Now, there may be certain areas where the children have to walk in kilometers to reach to their schools. They may have to pass through the unsafe zones. There may be deep forest in between. There may be the isolated area where the safety problems may be there. So it is thought that the bicycles will be provided in these areas, and not only the bicycles will be provided, but the groups, the children will be organized in the cycling and the walking groups, so they all walk together, they can all cycle together, so that they can ensure each other's safety while being in the group. So this kind of practice will help to increase the participation of the female students in the process, because sometimes it is observed that due to the large distances and due to the unsafe commuting, parents are not willing to send their girl child to the schools. So the safety benefits and the comforts to the parents and the child will be provided. Then one-on-one teacher and tutor program, peer tutoring, neighborhood schooling, appropriate infrastructures, suitable technological interventions, all this will also be made and special access for the children with disabilities. There is a special fund which is now started, and this fund will be named as Gender Inclusion Fund. And this is to provide, just a minute, I am just try to, I think it would be more clear. Okay. So gender inclusion fund will be started, and this gender inclusion fund, this time, for the first time in the policy, this gender inclusion fund is made, and not only the female child or the girl child is indicated. For the first time, transgender word is also used. So this shows that the government has the pure intention to achieve 100% literacy and to provide the opportunity to every kind of person in our community, by avoiding the biases which were prevalent in the society earlier. Then the Rights of Person with Disability Act is framed. RPWD Act, this came into existence in 2016, and this is precisely for the inclusive education, and it defines inclusive education as the system of education where students with disabilities and without disabilities, they learn together, and the system of teaching learning is suitably adapted to meet the learning needs of the diverse group of students with disabilities. And this policy is in complete context. It is completely into practice since 2016, and especially in the schools, the policy is being followed very, very strictly. About the universities and the colleges, you can check that what kind of provisions are into place. Then inclusion and equity will become a key aspect of the teacher education part also. So even the teacher education programs, B.Ed education programs, there also now the inclusion and equity become the important part of the curriculum, and the special trainings will be given to the would-be teachers so that they can understand the problem of the students with the learning with the special needs, and they can be trained for all leadership, administrative, and other positions where the SEDGs problems has to be addressed, and they shall be trained in in the manner so that they can become the excellent role models for the others. The policy also recognizes the importance of enabling mechanisms for providing children with special needs or Divyang the same opportunities of obtaining quality education and other child. So, a few more things uh, I have discussed some of the points. Now, what are the other provisions made in the policy? So they also say that home-based education could be the choice for the children who are unable to go to the school. So children may be unable to go to the school due to specific disabilities. Some kind of physical disability may be there, due to which the child is not able to go to school. Some kind of economic conditions may be there, due to which the child is not able to go to the school. The distance problems could be there. So for them, the alternative forms of the schoolings will be encouraged so that they are able to get the opportunity to learn and thrive. Then nowadays, special educators have become mandatory for the school education. In every school, there has to be the additional special educators along with the other teachers. The regular teachers of the schools, they are also given the trainings so that they can identify the learning disabilities, they can identify the special needs of the children, and then they can plan for them at the early stage. In many cases, it has been seen that if the early intervention is provided to the child, then they are able to cope up, and they can be streamlined with the other students, and they can thrive in future. Students in the schools uh, where we are talking about the alternative forms of schools. So these alternative form of schools, they can be the experimental schools, they can be the part of the open schooling, they can be the part of the NIOS or the state open schools, etc. Now in these kind of schools, the ultimately the provisions will also be made that if the child has attained a specific competency and now want to compete at the national level, then the special examinations, special assessments can be done by the national testing agencies. Then special attention will be given to the children uh, who are facing disparities because due to the belongingness to the scheduled caste or the scheduled tribes. NCC wings will also be opened in all sorts of schools, and these kind of trainings will be also open to all sorts of children. Students training, the like students need to be sensitized uh, about the problems and the requirements of the special need children. So the school culture shall be developed where everybody is trained whether it is the administrative staff or the supporting staff or the peer group or the teachers. Everybody should be trained and sensitized towards the needs or need of any child who is there in the school environment and has a special need. So about his problems, about his attributes, about his needs, and how a person can help them, how the person in that particular area can take care of their issues. uh, Everybody has to be trained in that. So special counselors and social workers can also be brought into the picture if the need be. Then human values such as empathy, respect for the other rights, gender equality, uh, inclusion and equity, this all has to be the part of the curriculum so that everybody can be trained in that. So inclusive curriculum, that simply means that inclusive curriculum means that the curriculum which is preparing everybody to respect the human values, and they are ready to have the kind of attributes which are required to make a society which is uh, sensitive to each other's requirements. So empathy, tolerance, human rights, gender equality, non-violence, then inclusion, global citizenship, etc. This should all be the part of the school curriculum. And in the school areas now, these things, they are becoming the part of the curriculum. For example, the schools has to follow uh, the social development goals curriculum. SDG goals curriculum is part of the school curriculum. Gender citizenship is part of the school curriculum. So these kind of practices have already started. Some provisions are made by the CBSE and the NCRT also, and not only the provision is made, but the special courses are also prepared to help the children who are coming from the disadvantaged educational background. So if some child is taking, say, late admission in the school, if some child is joining the formal education at the late stage and is not able to cope up with the curriculum followed in the school, for them the special bridge courses are developed, and this practice has started. This is initiated by the NCRT right from the beginning. For example, you know that in the formal schooling the child generally goes at the age of 3 plus or the 4 plus. Now when the children enter at the age of 4 plus in the pre nursery class, it is observed that they're coming from three different kind of backgrounds. One, who have never been to any kind of formal setup, they've never been to the play schools, they've never been to the creches, so they don't have this kind of idea. They are coming right from their homes to the formal school. So one group is this. Second type of group is where they have been to some kind of crèche or the play school or the nursery school, but the teachers there may not be trained. So they were not mentored or guided by the trained people. So this is the second type of group which is coming to the formal schools. And the third type of students who are coming to the schools are those who were trained by the properly trained teachers. So the teachers may be they may have the proper qualifications like the early childhood care education diploma. They may be diet trained teachers. So the students who are coming from this kind of background, they are always smarter than the previous two categories. So NCRT has created a new curriculum which is known as Vidya Pravesh. So in this Vidya Pravesh curriculum, a provision of 3 months special training is there. So all the students who are coming specially from the first two backgrounds, these students, they will be given special kind of activities, special kind of training where their teacher, their parents and their peer are part of their development plan. And peer learning is also taken into consideration, in the sense that the children who are more smart, they should be able to help from the very early age to their peers. So if a child is not coming from the formal training background, and another child is there who is coming from the formally trained background, teachers, so both the children, they can be paired up so that they can learn from each other. So this kind of provision is made. And for the 3 months training, in this 3 months training, the efforts will be there, because the activities are defined, everything is defined here. So the effort would be in the direction to bring that untrained child, or the child without any kind of formal training, to the level of the school. So after 3 months, the formal curriculum can be started. So this is about the Vidya Pravesh, and Vidya Pravesh simply means readiness to school. Second is, even in the, if say some child is entering late in the school, maybe in the class 5 or in the class 8, without the proper formal trainings, for them also in class 5, a 30 days special program is created by the CBSE. For the child who is coming to the class 8th or going to the class 9, for them the special training program, special bridge course of 45 days is prepared. So so various initiatives have been taken by the CBSE and the NCRT, that the students who are left behind shall not be left behind forever. They should be given, uh, the effort should be done to upgrade them by giving them the special bridge courses. Then socio-emotional support and academic support and mentoring through the suitable counseling and mentoring program is also required. Sensitization of faculty, counselor and students on the gender identity issues and its inclusion in all aspects of the HIs. The points which you are reading on the screen, they are actually written in the policy as it is. So their inclusion in all aspects of the higher education institution also is to be ensured. And this higher education institution, uh, inclusion can be ensured only when the students are passing through those bridge courses and are able to get opportunity to fill their learning gaps. So whatever gaps are left earlier, they can be filled in through this. And then the special, in fact, you must be hearing that for the past 1 year a debate is going on, that according to the policy, there should be two examinations in a year, two board examinations in a year. And the purpose there also is that if in the first instance, if any child is not able to clear the exams, or if any child wants to improve the performance, then he should be able to take it up next time. And this all has to be done in the same year, so that the time is not wasted, the child is not uh, missing a year or is lagging behind. So but due to certain practical problems, there is no uniformity in the opinion. This mandate is not becoming a possible, although I have heard that few of the states, they have already started. Anyway, then no discrimination and anti-harassment rules is to be enforced in all the schools or the educational institutions. There shall be a proper institutional development program where the uh, specific actions for increasing the participation for the SEDGs is to be made. So I have observed that many of the universities and the colleges, now they have started their community programs where they are trying to enhance their outreach to the children belonging to the socially advantaged group. They're giving them special trainings, and then they're bringing them to the formal institutional organizations. So once the policy, the vision is clear, we should apprise ourselves with the laws, acts, legislations which are in place for the disability, and what is the role of RCI in education and rehabilitation. Because as far as why I'm talking about the disabilities, because as far as the gender issues are there, or the caste issues are there, for them we can enhance the participation um, by training the people, by discussing with them, and by raising their awareness. Now disability is one section which is always uh, remain unnoticed, or due to lack of training or the lack of knowledge, uh, sometimes it is seen that schools and colleges, they are not able to cater these children properly, but their involvement is also very very important. As I've already discussed that human resource is the most important resource for any country, and in case of India, because of our numbers, our population, it is uh, it is discussed by the economics. The data has been collected, and it has been envisaged that if we can raise the participation in the economic activities of every if we can raise the participation of every segment of the society, then we can enhance our GDP by 16%. So how the RCI, or the other acts, RCI is Rehabilitation Council of India. So what kind of laws are made by these people, and how they can be enforced in the educational institution, that also we shall try to understand. So there is an Article 21A in the Constitution, and according to this article, education is fundamental right for every child. So right of child to free and compulsory education is ensured by the Right to Education Act 2009, and it is also written there very very clearly that the schools should strictly follow no rejection policy. There was a time, you must be knowing that, I think some states must be following till date this kind of policy, that even at the age of 3 or 4, when the child was uh, taking the admission for the first time in the formal school, then to ensure his entry into the formal schooling, an interview was to be conducted. So interview of the child, interview of the parents, lots of formalities were there. So we were expecting from the child, we were expecting a perfect display of the skills and the knowledge by the child of the age 3 or 4. Now, in the universalization of education mission, or Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, which is later known as SSA, this no rejection policy is strictly, it is to be followed strictly. So in most of the cities, in most of the states, this has been enforced by the government, that there should not be any interview for any child at this age. So strictly no interview policy is to be there. Whosoever is coming to the school, the doors for every child shall be open. This has and this also means that it is not applicable only to the normal child. It is applicable to all sorts of children, whether they have a particular kind of disability, or they're the children with the special need. uh, there is one catch here, that it says that irrespective of the type and the degree of disabilities, the school has to ensure the inclusion of the children. But since the disabilities are of several types, so sometimes there can be the limitation of the school also, whether they have the trained teachers or not, whether they can cater to all sorts of children with the with the kind of facilities they have in the school. So this has to be ensured, but school directly cannot say no to any child. They should be ready to take every child. So since date, four laws have come into existence. One was the The first one was the Rehabilitation Council of India Act 92. Then, with some more provisions, Person with Disability Act 1995 came into existence. Then National Trust Act 1999. But now the act which is enforced in the school, which is to be followed in all the schools and the higher education institutions, this is Right of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016. And this act also has a background. There is an organization, United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. Now, in this organization, on 13th of December 2006, it was discussed that whenever we see any disabled people, we try to do charity with them. Instead of understanding their rights, instead of understanding their sentiments, instead of understanding their needs, we try to pity on them, and our behavior and our attitude somewhere hurt the person, and it not only hurt the sentiments and emotion, it hurts the self-esteem and the confidence, and we underestimate the people ability, and we are not able to give them opportunity to make optimal use of their abilities. So this treaty is brought into existence, and this says that they are also the active members of the society, and they should have every right to make the informed decisions based on their fair will. So they should be able to enjoy equal rights. Now, this act was ratified by India in the October 2007, and this was forced in 2008. Now, the principles which laid down by the UNCRPD, that means United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, was number one, respect for inherent dignity and individual autonomy. Second was non-discrimination and equal opportunity. Third was effective participation and inclusion in society. And fourth was respect and acceptance of PWDs, that means person with disabilities, as human diversity. Accessibility, gender equality, and respect for children with disabilities. All these were the provisions made, these were the basic principles on which the UNCRPD Act was framed. And rights and privilege under Act were that government shall ensure the equal opportunity, appropriate environment, no discrimination, no deprivation of the personal liberty, reasonable accommodation, protection from abuse, violence, and exploitation. That means safety of these children is also very important, and protection from the cruelty and the inhuman treatment is very, very important. So our PWD Act has ensured that our government ensure all these provisions which are there in the act. So our PWD Act has all these as a mandatory part of the act. Then they also categorize the disabilities in the different categories. So first was the intellectual disability. In the intellectual disability, specific learning disabilities, intellectual disabilities, as well as the autism spectrum disorder is the part of that. Then mental behavior or illness is also part of that. Second is disability due to neurological conditions. So you might have observed that sometimes due to neurological conditions, any child or the person is not able to function properly. So you may find some abruptions in their physical, some kind of deformities in their physical form and their functioning. So multiple sclerosis and Parkinson's disease, they are under the part of this. Then earlier, the blood-related disabilities were not considered. So this came into existence in 2016 only, that hemophilia, thalassemia, or sickle cell disease, they shall also be considered as the part of disabilities, because they also dysfunction the functional abilities of the child person. Then otherwise, other multiple disabilities, this may be ADHD, this may be autism, this may be the Down syndrome, Asperger syndrome, etc., etc. So all the disabilities will be the part of this. or any other category which can be notified from time to time by the central government will be the part of this. Now, again, in the National Education Policy, Section 16, now I am again talking about the sections which are pertaining to the higher education institution also. So, Section 16 says that education institution has to be inclusive in terms of inclusive curriculum, terms of inclusive mindset of teachers and authorities, inclusive pedagogy, inclusive sports, and inclusive recreational facilities. So, this is very important because inclusion can be achieved only when the proper mindset of the teachers and the authorities is there. Without mindset, without the right kind of intention, inclusion is not possible. So if the mindset of the teachers is inclusive, then curriculum can be made inclusive. It will not be a difficult job. Pedagogies can be adjusted according to the needs of the children. So pedagogy shall also be inclusive. And then all sorts of facilities to all sorts of children. So the sports facilities, other recreational facilities, they shall also be inclusive in the nature. Accessibility is again very important because the kind of building, the kind of campus you have, the kind of transport facilities are there. This also need to be ensured that they are adjusted. They are adjusting to the needs of the every type of child. Section 17 says that conduct survey of the school going children every 5 years. And why this survey is to be done? Because this survey help us to understand whether this kind of population is increasing or decreasing, how many types of teacher training institutions need to be built, how many and how many type of teacher training institutions are required, what kind of professional trainings are required, what kind of professional training to the teachers and to the supporting staff and to the administrative staff is required in case of the inclusive education. Then are the teachers trained in the specific languages? Because sometimes certain disabilities, they demand specific language. So sign language is one of them. Braille is for the visually impaired children. So these two languages, the teachers can be given the training on them. And you might have observed that now the sign language has become very mandatory everywhere. So even if there is a government function or the event, there is always one person who is translating every deliberation happening on the stage in the sign language. So it is important to understand the language because communication is very important. And then uh, effectively on all these issues can be worked only when it is also understood that what kind of improvement is required, and for that kind of improvement what kind of research is to be promoted. So promoting research to improve learning is again a very important part of the section 70. Now you have educated people with disabilities. This may be due to the formal or the non-formal structure, but some kind of skills are required which can help them to have the sustainable lives. So vocational and skill training uh, schemes are to be there. Then adequate support and facilities to avail training. So if the training is there, but say the finances or the other conditions are not there to avail those trainings, then it will not be of any use for them. So whatever requirements are there to provide the support shall be maintained. No promotion shall be denied to PWD on the ground of the disability. So, if some worker is doing very good and deserves the promotion, but uh, on the ground of disability, you cannot say that you cannot be promoted. So, it is not only for the learners, it is also for the people when they are employed, when they are in a particular profession. So, there also the provisions are made so that their rights are not denied by anybody. Then framing of policy for the transfer and the posting of PWD. Uh, so whenever the person with disability is there, the policy is in place that how their transfers or the postings can be made so that they don't feel discomfort. Every establishment shall notify equal opportunity policy. So, for your institutions, for your college, for your university, you have to frame a policy which is equal opportunity policy, and this equal opportunity policy shall include every member of that institution, be it the learner, or be it the trainer, be it the faculty member, or the supporting staff member, or the administrative staff member. So everybody should be, and sometimes, in fact, parents too, because parents are also important stakeholder in the learner's life. They have to visit the institutions many a times. So what kind of provisions are there to extend help to them? Every government establishment shall appoint a grievance redressal officer also. This is written in the PWD Act. Then is Social Security, Health and Rehabilitation. Here, section 24 to 30 is there. So first section talks about the women, support for women with disability for livelihood and upbringing of children. So if any woman is there with disability, then it may be difficult for her to earn her livelihood and to do the right kind of nurturing of the children. So how the support can be provided. Then basic facilities are also talked about. For example, safe drinking water and accessible sanitation facilities. Disability pension scheme uh, shall also be part of. This is also the part of the act, and how it can be done, because it is written that disability pension subject to notified income ceiling. Then caregiver allowance to the PWDs with high support need. Unemployment allowance shall also be there. Facilities for training of staff at PHC. So, educate the public through preschool, school, PHC, and VLV institutions. Creation of awareness through TV, radio, and other mass media. So, awareness is to be spread about all the policies and all kind of facilities which are available by law, and how they can be uh, accessed. Then role of RCI under RPWD Act. So RPWD Act has also modified the role of the Rehabilitation Council, and they said that develop human resources for the purpose of this act, mandatory training on the disability rights in all courses. And these courses are because the people who are making the policies, um, it is important to see that the implementation of policy is also done, and who could be the people who are part of the implementation. So it may be from panchayati raj to the legislators, administrators, police officials, judges, lawyers. Everybody should be trained in the disability rights and uh, the provisions for that. Induct disability as a component for all educational courses for all schools, university teachers, doctors, nurses, paramedical personnel, senior officers, rural development officers, ASHA workers, Anganwadi workers, architects, other professionals, and community workers. So this training in disability is mandatory for everybody. Capacity building programs, only knowing the problems or knowing the kind of categories of the disadvantaged groups or the disability is not enough, but how to help them is also very important. So capacity building trainings are also the mandatory part. uh, and this training also includes making strong communities. So building community relationship for the families, members of community, stakeholders and care providers on care given support. Ensure independence training for person with disabilities to build relation on the mutual contribution and respect. Then all universities shall promote teaching and research in disability studies, including establishment of study center for such studies. Now, the challenges are that awareness, first is how to create awareness and how to sensitize the people about the protection of the rights of everybody. Then the second is that you have created awareness, you have sensitized the people, but what about the normal course of life when they are walking on the road, when they are standing on the bus stop, when they are at the railway stations, at the rail airport? So what kind of accessibility standards are followed and what kind of facilities to be provided? This also needs to be taken care of. Access to information and communication technology, and then how the buildings can be made accessible within the next 5 years. This is also a challenge. So few of the things I will be discussing कि अभी तक क्या क्या किया गया है. Then school curriculum should have the mandatory provision of the modification as per the needs of the children, having the benchmark disabilities, and this we have discussed. All regulatory authorities and professional bodies, they have to have a specific provision to protect the rights of person with disabilities. In the schools and colleges, there should be a mandatory resource room where these people with disabilities or the learning disabilities or other kind of specific needs, they can have the facilities which are required for them. So mandatory resource room is another important uh, aspect which is to be there in every school. So in every college or university, a disability studies department is to be opened. I don't think that I have yet came across a disability studies department. Certain kind of universities, they are they're dedicated to this kind of studies. They are doing it. For example, Nimhans is one of them. But every school or every college or every university has disability studies department, which I feel is to be taken care of. Then introduction of the disability studies at 10+2 level by the central and state board of education. So that means disability studies can be a special kind of course which can be introduced right in the school along with the other courses. Parents training program is also required because sometimes parents have no choice. They don't know, they don't choose a child with disability. This responsibility came to them suddenly and unknowingly. So parents also need a special kind of trainings, and the training programs has to be created for them. Strengthening of the chief commissioner or the state commissioner offices to ensure the implementation of the act. Now this is again very very important because in my few years of experiences, I have seen that uh, since this force has come into act and it has been asked from the CBSE or the other kind of state boards to make the special provisions, uh, then there is a kind of hitch. Uh, they have a particular mindset. Sometimes the officers who are there on the seats, they have a particular mindset. They're not able to believe that a child may have a disability or may have a special need, or some kind of special provision shall be made there. So in such cases, the commissioner intervention by the chief commissioner or the state commissioner office sometimes becomes very important, and it plays a significant role which can help the child. So if I talk about the CBSE, now, CBSE has made certain provisions. Central Board of Secondary Education has made certain provisions. Number one is that they say that from the early age, right from class 2 onwards, this practice shall start in the school that try to identify the problem of the child. If you notice any kind of behavior which is not natural, or if you feel that a special kind of writing style is there, a problem in the understanding is there, the child is facing any problem regarding the learning process, then it should be immediately reported to the school counselor, and school counselor shall make provision and to see that whether the child needs further any training, further any support by the psychologist or by the special educators, or a kind of evaluation or assessment, a special assessment is required for the child. If the teachers are trained to identify the problem at the early stages, and they're also trained to give the right kind of interventions, or a specialist is inducted in between, then it has been seen that in many cases the problem can be overcome within a span of 6 months to 1 year. It depends upon the degree of the problem. So, so if any child is found, say, having the learning disabilities, and there are three kinds of learning disabilities. One is dyslexia, another is dysgraphia, and third one is dyscalculia. So, dyslexia is that the child may be very good in the communication with the speaking language, but he is not having the proper writing skills. He may not be able to recognize the letters properly. He may have some kind of um, motor uh, skill motor development deficits. So may not be able to say copy the right thing from the blackboard, or some kind of reading problems are there. So if the child is having dyslexia, this is one type of problem. Another is dyscalculia. The child may be very sharp, he may be having very high IQ, may be having very good understanding, very good language ability, but is very poor with the numbers. So these kind of children, they often lack in the mathematical skills somewhere. And the third kind of children are who may have the dysgraphia. That means they are not very good with the pictures. So their visual ability may be, there may be an issue with the visual ability. They may not be able to read the pictures or the graphs or the charts properly. So different kind of problems are there, but these are the problems where if the right kind of intervention is provided by the experts, the problems can be overcome. So the teacher should have the proper knowledge of the kind of the problems are there. Then the CBSE, what the CBSE has done, that if any child is identified by the RCI or the proper psychologist or the proper hospitals, experts in the hospitals, and they feel that the problem is there, then there is a provision that they can skip certain subjects. For example, in place of maths, science, or social sciences, they can choose the other subjects right from the class 6th. There can be a special syllabus for them. The degree of the syllabus can be reduced for these children. The question paper can be typed in a different way. So there can be more bold letters or the legible letters. Size of the font can be increased. The format of the question paper can be changed. The format of question paper may be more of the fill in the blanks or the multiple choice question if they have some kind of, say, reading disability. So these kind of provisions are there by the CBSE. Then in certain cases, the child may get 1 hour extra in the examination. So if it is a 3 hours paper, and this is for the class 10th and 12th also. So if in the board examination the child is sitting, if rest of the children are given the time of 3 hours to complete the paper, then the children with the special need can be given 1 hour extra. So depending upon the recommendations of the psychologist. In some cases where the reading disabilities are there, the child can also be given a person who can give the prompt to the child. That means he will read the question paper for the child and he may give prompt. He will not be explaining or telling the answer, but he will trigger the child to write the answer. So there are special kind of disabilities where the child is not motivated to write the things or to understand the things on their own. So there they may require prompters. Then there are children who have good reading disability but writing disability is there. So if the writing disability is there, then in that case, the scribe can also be provided. The scribe has to be of the lower age, or say if the child is studying in the class 10th, if the child is appearing for the examination of the class 10th, then the scribe can be from the class 9th. So a child should be from the 1 degree lesser than the one stage, at least one stage less than this. And the child has to be certified by the school also that this particular child is the student of our school and is uh, to actually certify the genuinity of the scribe. The schools has to certify. So they do have to take the responsibility. So lots of provisions are there, and these provisions should be clear to all that what kind of facilities are there. It is not difficult for them to ace the examinations. They can get more time, and more choices of the subjects are there for them. So now the next part is this is, I think, okay. So you can write in the chat box when you want to have a break for 10 minutes. Okay. Now we talked about the mindset, attitude, and beliefs. I tell you that I am leading a school which is a very normal school. But in my school, we are also catering the children with the cross disabilities. Now, but to cater to these children, what protocols we have made, that right in the beginning of the session, every person of the school fraternity is trained, whether he is the guard who is standing on the gate, or the supporting staff, or the library people, or the administrative office, or the school reception. So whosoever, or the housekeeping staff, everyone is trained on their needs and how they have to take care. For example, some child, if one child is very hyperactive or has a problem of ADHD and is running in the whole school, some children, they may get hyper when there is heat. So so what kind of behavior they may feel aggressive or violent at that time. So how to handle their problems. So we give training to all in the school environment, that the kind of um, attention they require and how to take good care so that they don't hurt themselves, they don't do any kind of damage to themselves or to others, or to the school property. So lots of things has to be taken into consideration. At the same time, the peer group, their classmates also have to be trained over that what are their needs and how they can help them to fulfill their needs. Then the attitude and belief is also very important. So there is a belief that if any child has any kind of disability, then this child is of no use and he will not be able to perform to this particular level. So we have to uh, get rid of this kind of mindset also. So this needs to be changed. So let me just share one example with you that in 2004, when I took the first child in my school who was facing some kind of disability, she was a girl child and she was having a big lump at her back, due to which she was not able to walk properly. And probably the doctors also said that the girl does not have much life, and she will not be able, even if she will be say able to survive, she will not be able to walk. So lots of physical problems were there, and the mother was a single parent, and she said that no school is taking my child because of her physical structure. So my child does not have right to education. So she was very much worried. And we took the child. I said, no, your child has every right to education. If a child has touched the school gate, that means now he has entered into the school and he has every right. So we took the child, but after 2 3 days, I started getting the complaints from the other parents, and they said that why my child is sitting with this particular child. I have not sent my child to face these kind of problems or to see these kind of issues. So those kind of things were there. So all parents, they came in the group, and they were very much against about this, that why we have taken a particular child. So I said, you give me a week's time. और उस एक हफ्ते के बाद में हमने within a week, what we did, we trained their classmates. We trained her classmates, and every child in that class have been given special responsibility. So somebody has the responsibility to accompany the child during recess. Somebody was given the responsibility to see whether she is able to complete her work or not. Somebody has been given the responsibility to see whether the child has entered into the class in the morning and is not facing any problem, or somebody was given the responsibility whether the child has boarded the school bus in the afternoon properly. Hmm, so to drop the child till the school bus, and so on. So every child was given a different kind of responsibility. So what happened that within a span of 10 days, 10 15 days, children, they started sharing with their parents that how important they are and how they are able to bring a positive change in somebody's life. So after 15 days, the parents met me, and their all dissatisfaction, whatever problems they were having, their all grievances, they were all dissolved, because they said that we have found a sea change in the attitude of our own children, and suddenly we have found that they are becoming, they have become more caring. And I have 60 plus children uh, uh, currently, and even if the children, they are bullying each other as per their age, but no, everybody is careful that if there is a child with a special need, then they don't have to bully that child. They are extra careful towards their need, and they're extra caring towards them, and there is no difference. They have a very good repo, very good relationship is there. In their mind, there is no such kind of feelings that this is a child requiring some special attention, और ये ऐसा स्पेशल है कि मुझे इससे अलग रहना, आइसोलेशन में रखना है इसको, या डिस्क्रिमिनेशन करना है, ऐसा कोई फीलिंग नहीं है. तो वो जो एटीट्यूड है वो डेवलप करना हमारे अपने हाथ में है. एंड द मोस्ट pitiable part is the pain part is that every time, every year, this kind of population is increasing by 4%. So this is the data by WHO. So if the population is increasing by 4%, and this may be increasing due to our lifestyles, our own um, style of our own food habits, or maybe other stresses. So if the population is increasing, then that simply means that we all have to be extra careful and extra vigilant towards their needs. So mindset, attitude, and belief is one thing. Now, second important thing is infrastructural barriers. So, what are how the infrastructural barriers can be removed? Let me just share with you. A very important step was taken by the government of India, and they conducted a workshop, and they they conducted the special workshop with the help of the UNESCO, UNICEF people, for the building, for the capacity building of engineers and the civil workers. Because if the engineers and civil workers, they are not aware of the needs of these children, they will not be able to take care of the kind of infrastructural adaptability, or the adjustments required to be made in the building. And the so what they did, they stood how they started, they made a team, and all of them, they divided into the groups and stood out of many schools to observe whether the children with special need or the children with the disabilities are going to these schools or not. Okay, and what they found is, for example, in a particular school, they found that the school has the admissions of the physical disability students, but these students, they did not wanted to come to the school. So they observed that what kind of problems they must be facing. So they realized that outside the school there was a dumping ground, which was very smelly. So that was one part, due to which the children, they were not willing to come to the school. Second was the school gate entry. Outside the school there was a there was a big block on the road, due to which it was not comfortable for the school, for the children to come to the school. अगर वो व्हील चेयर पे भी है तो व्हील चेयर उस बैरियर को या उस ब्लॉक को पार करके वो स्कूल गेट तक नहीं जाती थी. स्कूल गेट का स्ट्रक्चर ऐसा था कि स्कूल गेट से अंदर आकर के क्लासरूम तक पहुंचना डिफिकल्ट था. So they observe certain kind of things after standing for 15-20 days outside the schools, observing the children's movement and so on. And then they started working on the strategies, the problems, and the strategies to overcome those problems. Okay, so they observe that transportation is inaccessible, school facilities are inaccessible, and what all they did, this happened in, let me just show you. So they prepared special accessibility guidelines for the schools, and these guidelines, they covers the ramps in the school, footpaths, parking area, steps, stairs, handrails, tactile surface, circulation areas, and doors along with the so curb ramps, they said that at least it should be 1200 millimeter wide with a gradient no greater than 1 is to 12, and flared sides not exceeding 1 is to 10. Footpath must be smooth, level, and at least 2000 millimeter wide with a minimum area of 1200 meter. So actually, these are some of the points which they did for the open. It is outside the school. It is about the roads and the parks. Accessible parking. It should be within 30 meters of the main entrance. Within the two parkings, there shall be international symbol of accessibility and so on. So let me just show you with the pictures. So they started Accessible India campaign, and you can see the logo here for the Accessible India campaign, making schools accessible to children with disability. This is the campaign run by the Samarthyam and the UNICEF. So Samarthyam was the institution which actually facilitated this workshop for the civil engineers and civil workers. And they prepared a guidebook, Making School Accessible to Children with Disabilities, in partnership with the Department of Empowerment of Person with Disabilities and Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, as well as Samarthyam. Samarthyam is a civil society organization. So they did situation analysis, then they did capacity building, and then they created awareness generation and sensitization programs. So nowadays you must be getting the circulars in your school or colleges also, that there should be it is necessary to have the lift in the school. It is necessary to have ramps in the school. It is necessary to have the wheelchairs in the schools. It is necessary to have the signages at every place. For example, if it is staff room, so these are the standard signages which has to be placed outside every room. Staff room, CWS and toilet, accessible ramp, drinking water, library. So in these posters or in these signages, you can see that there is a sign, there is a symbol, visual symbol, as well as the big bold letters are also written. So those who have the reading disabilities, they can go through the pictures. Those who have the visual abilities, somebody can read for them. In fact, I visited one of the colleges of Delhi University. So in their school, it is you will appreciate this. There was an NCC teacher who was visually impaired. And when she learned the computer skills and she came to know that QR codes can be created, so what she did, with the help of her students, they created QR code for every area, whether it is the principal's office or the administrative office or the accounts office or the library. So how they created those QR codes? They counted the steps from the entrance gate, and based on the those steps, they created the QR codes. So if the child has to go, and the moment that any visually impaired child enters into the school, the guard has to give them that QR code. They can scan the QR code, and using those QR codes, they can reach to the desired place. So this was a very interesting mm, innovation, innovative step taken by a teacher, and this has made everybody's like journey comfortable. So we should be able to understand that what kind of facilities and provisions are there. Then you must be knowing that if there are handrails in the schools, then these handrails, they should be circular, and a diameter is also prescribed for the handrails, that it should be 38 mm and placed at two levels, 760 mm and extended 300 mm beyond the ramp or the stairs. Tactile surfaces should be there, so that visually impaired people, if they are walking with the sticks, then they are able to move properly. Then the special provision for the toilets is also there, because sometimes if a person has to take the wheelchair inside, so the door should be wide open. It should be very wide. There should be a railing along with the this WC. So these kind of special provisions are there. So even on the roads, um, the now the designs of the roads are also changed accordingly, so that they don't feel they any person with a disability does not face much of the problem. So you can involve your students also, your college students also, to understand, to observe the problems faced by their fellow classmates or anybody in the society, and then try to have the innovative strategies to overcome those solutions. So we have discussed right now what is written in the vision document, what kind of legislative acts are there, and then what kind of infrastructural barriers which how the barrier free environment can be created in the school. Now we will be talking about the rest of the two parts. Let us take the 10 minutes break. One is what could be the administrative and the academic improvement strategies. So we can meet after 10 minutes. Okay, shall we start? Okay, let me just adjust to my screen. Okay, so now we have to discuss two more parts. One is how to make the administrative plans and the academic improvement plans. So, to make any academic strategy, first of all, we need to introspect. So, we shall see that what is there in the system, what is missing, where are the gaps, and how we can work on filling those gaps. So, I am sharing with you a self analysis, self assessment uh, check by made by one of the universities. This is not the university from India. This is some outside university, but I am sharing with this you, and accordingly you can create for your own institution. So this is created by one of the universities according to their needs, and on the basis of this, this is going to give you a very fair idea that how you can make your uh, own self check rubric. So first is about the vision, leadership and messaging. Okay, so everything starts from the vision. We should have very clear idea that yes, we want to make our institution an inclusive institution, and uh, if we are willing to make it an in a, make it a inclusive institution, then what all needs to be done. So the first thing is, and then how our leader thinks about it. If head of the institution, head of the organization is thinking that way, only then it can be attained. Rest all work according to the vision of the leader. So first is, अब आपको क्या करना है, ये एक्टिविटी बेस्ड ये वाला पार्ट है सेशन का. इसमें आप हम जो सामने क्वेश्चंस आ रहे हैं उसको आप अपने हिसाब से एनालाइज करते जाइए. अगर आप लिखना चाहें कहीं किसी पेपर के ऊपर तो आप लिख भी सकते हैं अपने रिस्पॉन्सेस को कि आपको क्या लगता है कि क्या आपके यहाँ हो रहा है और क्या मिसिंग है. So there are five options. You can write Y for yes, N for no, S for somewhat, BK don't know, and N oblique means not available or not applicable. सो और ये पांच सिचुएशंस ही आती हैं. या तो हम बिल्कुल श्योर होते हैं कि हाँ ये हो रहा है, या बिल्कुल नहीं हो रहा, या हमको लगता है कि कुछ कुछ हम कर रहे हैं बट दैट कैन बी इम्प्रूव्ड. और कभी कभी हमको क्योंकि हम अवेयर नहीं होते तो इसलिए हमें पता ही नहीं है कि करना क्या है, तो हम डोंट नो भी कह सकते हैं. और किसी केस में हमको ये भी लगता है कि नहीं, हमारे इंस्टीट्यूशन में यहाँ पर ये चीज एप्लीकेबल नहीं. So first is our organization actively committed to issues of equity, inclusion and diversity? तो इस सब के लिए मैं कहूंगी कि आप सब अपने आप से इंट्रोस्पेक्ट कर लें. आपको लग रहा है, मुझे बताने की जरूरत नहीं है, किसी और को भी बताने की जरूरत नहीं है, कि अगर आपको लगता है कि आपका ऑर्गेनाइजेशन कमिटेड है फॉर द इश्यूज ऑफ इक्विटी, इंक्लूजन एंड डाइवर्सिटी, तो वो शुरू कहाँ से होगा. पहले तो क्या ये तीन वर्ड्स हमारे यहाँ यूज होते हैं, या हमें इनके मीनिंग क्लियर है, उसके बाद हम डिसाइड करेंगे कि हम कमिटेड हैं या नहीं है. Second is, our mission and vision statement include references to or goals on equity, inclusion and diversity. आपके कॉलेज का, यूनिवर्सिटी का कोई विजन स्टेटमेंट होगा, कोई मिशन स्टेटमेंट होगा जहां पर ये गोल्स मेंशन हैं या नहीं है. सो विजन स्टेटमेंट में और मिशन स्टेटमेंट में एक डिफरेंस होता है. मिशन स्टेटमेंट एक तरह का लार्ज गोल है. इट इज ए लार्ज टर्म गोल यानी कुछ सालों में आप अचीव कर सकते हैं, अभी इमीडिएटली नहीं कर सकते। और जो आपका विजन स्टेटमेंट है उसके अंदर आप अपना शॉर्ट टर्म, इस सॉरी उल्टा बोल गई हूं मैं, विजन स्टेटमेंट आपका लास्ट टर्म लॉन्ग टर्म गोल होगा, और जो मिशन है वो अभी शॉर्ट टर्म गोल होगा कि इस साल के लिए आपने क्या सोचा है। तो अगर आपके ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के कोई मिशन और विजन स्टेटमेंट्स बने हुए हैं तो उनमें ये इक्विटी, इंक्लूजन और डाइवर्सिटी जैसे गोल्स इंक्लूडेड है या नहीं। फिर द प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ इक्विटी एंड इंक्लूजन आर एम्बेडेड इन अवर मिशन, विजन एंड कोर वैल्यूज। इंस्टीट्यूशन की जो कोर वैल्यूज हैं उसमें भी प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ इक्विटी और इंक्लूजन इंक्लूडेड है या नहीं है। सो यू कैन जस्ट सी, you can write yes, no, or somewhat, or don't know. We have resources dedicated to equity, inclusion, and diversity issues, including professional development for manager and staff. आपके यहाँ रिसोर्सेज हैं। अब रिसोर्सेज की अगर हम बात करेंगे तो आप इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चरल एनवायरनमेंट को पहले देख सकते हैं कि क्या बैरियर फ्री एनवायरनमेंट है या नहीं है। उसके बाद आप रिसोर्स रूम के बारे में सोच सकते हैं। उसके बाद आप जो ट्रेनिंग्स हो रही हैं, जो प्रोफेशनल डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम्स हो रहे हैं, उसमें इस टाइप की कितनी ट्रेनिंग्स हो रही हैं और वो ट्रेनिंग्स किस किस के लिए हो रही हैं इंस्टीट्यूशन में। सो यू कैन decide accordingly that what answer is to be given. Then our equity and inclusion values are reflected in our internal and external communication, such as program descriptions, outreach materials, websites and newsletters. तो अगर ये चीजें इक्विटी और इंक्लूजन वैल्यूज हैं इंस्टीट्यूशन का, तो आपके कहीं ना कहीं अगर आप अपने यूनिवर्सिटी का ब्रोशर बना रहे हैं, कॉलेज का ब्रोशर बना रहे हैं, आप अपने स्कूल की वेबसाइट बना रहे हैं, न्यूज लेटर लिख रहे हैं, कहीं ना कहीं ये रिफ्लेक्ट होगा ही। इसके अलावा जब भी आप अपने कॉलेज में या यूनिवर्सिटी में कोई इवेंट करने जा रहे हैं, चाहे वो एक छोटी कॉन्फ्रेंस है, चाहे कोई वो एनुअल इवेंट है, किसी भी तरह का प्रोग्राम आप करने जा रहे हैं, तो वहां के लिए भी स्पेशल प्रोविजंस होंगे। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, मान लीजिए आपने कोई पैनल डिस्कशन रखा, सिंपोजियम रखा, तो क्या ऐसा है कि वहां पीछे से कोई साइन लैंग्वेज में उसको ट्रांसलेट करने वाला है? क्या ऐसा है कि हमने राइट फ्रॉम द एंट्रेंस टू द वेन्यू ये प्रोविजन बनाया कि किसी भी पर्सन को आने जाने में असुविधा ना हो, किसी को स्पेशल अगर कोई सपोर्ट चाहिए या व्हील चेयर चाहिए या स्टिक चाहिए, कुछ भी ऐसा चाहिए, तो क्या वो मटेरियल अवेलेबल है या नहीं है? यानी ये जो थॉट है ये हमारे हर एक्टिविटी का पार्ट होना चाहिए। ओके, सेकंड पार्ट, how we address responsive research, teaching and public service. So यहाँ we regularly and systematically collect and analyze data about the equity, inclusion and diversity. क्या आपके स्कूल में कोई ऐसा डेटा कलेक्शन का आपके कॉलेज में कोई प्रोविजन बना हुआ है जहां पर आपको आप कोई रेगुलर सिस्टमेटिक वे में, चाहे वो उनकी प्रॉब्लम्स को लेकर के है, चाहे वो उनके और दूसरे डेटा को लेकर के है कि उनकी क्या नीड्स हैं, कितने लोग ऐसे हैं, कि ये कितनी पॉपुलेशन ऐसी है, किस किस को स्पेशल फैसिलिटीज की जरूरत है, किस तरह की स्पेशल फैसिलिटीज की जरूरत है, कोई डेटा एनालिसिस। तो पहली तो बात है कि डेटा कलेक्शन होता है या नहीं होता, और डेटा कलेक्शन हो रहा है तो फिर उसका एनालिसिस कैसे हो रहा है। और फिर अगर वो डेटा है आपके पास है तो उसके अकॉर्डिंगली second point is we use program assessment and evaluations that assess our ability to be responsive to the needs of our increasingly diverse state, national and global context. तो अगर डेटा अवेलेबल है तो क्या उसके अकॉर्डिंगली आपकी पॉलिसीज बन रही हैं या नहीं बन रही हैं, आपके प्रोग्राम्स जो भी आप बना रहे हैं उन प्रोग्राम्स को फिर आप टाइम टू टाइम असेस और इवेलुएट कर रहे हैं नहीं। We actively develop resources for supporting our equity, inclusion and diversity needs. So regularly उसको बार बार इंट्रोस्पेक्ट करके डेवलपमेंट उनमें वो रिसोर्सेज में क्या ऐड करने की जरूरत है, हाउ टू ऐड मोर रिसोर्सेज, हाउ टू इम्प्रोवाइज द रिसोर्सेज, क्या इसके ऊपर कोई काम हो रहा है। Possible additions. Our manager and staffs are familiar with our internal data gathering and analysis resources relevant to equity, inclusion, and diversity. Sometimes this happens that a faculty takes initiative, they collect such data, they analyze such data, and then they suggest certain programs to the authorities. So, is this kind of thing happening in the campus? और अगर वो हो रही है तो जो आप प्रोग्राम डिजाइन कर रहे हैं, जो भी आप प्रपोज कर रहे हैं, उसकी तरफ कैसे ध्यान दिया जा रहा है, उसको सीरियसली लिया जा रहा है या नहीं लिया जा रहा. We research new developments in the program assessments for equity, inclusion, and diversity and update our practices in this area. तो खाली प्रोग्राम बना नहीं दिया, उसके ऊपर आप ऑफ कोर्स रिसर्च भी करेंगे जब बनाएंगे ऐसा कोई प्रोग्राम. जैसे कि बाकी इंस्टीट्यूशंस में क्या हो रहा है आज, पहले क्या ट्रेडिशन था, क्या कल्चर था, उसमें किस तरह के चेंजेस आए हैं, किस तरह के डेवलपमेंट्स हो रही हैं, क्या नई रिसर्चेज इस फील्ड में आ रही हैं, उससे क्या नए सुझाव मिल रहे हैं. सो ये एक इम्पॉर्टेंट एरिया हो सकता है. देन वी एनकरेज इनोवेशन दैट एड्रेस इक्विटी एंड इंक्लूजन इन अवर वर्क प्लेस, करिकुलम डेवलपमेंट एंड टीचिंग प्रैक्टिसेस वेयर रेलिवेंट. तो यहाँ पर इनोवेशन, जैसे थोड़ी देर पहले मैंने कहा था कि आप अपने स्टूडेंट्स को मोटिवेट करिए कि अगर वो किसी प्रॉब्लम को देख रहे हैं, ऑब्जर्व कर रहे हैं, तो उसके लिए क्या वो कोई यूजफुल सोल्यूशन ढूंढ पा रहे हैं या नहीं. वो सोल्यूशन साइंस और टेक्नोलॉजी की मदद से भी हो सकता है और वो सोल्यूशन अदरवाइज भी हो सकता है. आप अपने टीचिंग पैडागोजीज में कुछ इनोवेशंस ला सकते हैं. So, what is there? There is lots of plenty of material available on the Google. जिसको अगर आप सर्च करेंगे तो आपको स्पेशल स्पेसिफिक सब्जेक्ट स्पेसिफिक भी क्या टीचिंग पेडागोजीज होनी चाहिए वो मिल जाएगा. Our curriculum development, teaching, advising, and outreach practices offer all groups, including those from the underrepresented community, the opportunity to fully engage. तो हमारा जो करिकुलम डेवलपमेंट है वो भी वैसा ही हो. उसके लिए आपको ये भी पता होना चाहिए कि आपके पास कितनी फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी है करिकुलम में, क्या क्या प्रोविजंस हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आई एम गिविंग यू वन एग्जाम्पल अगेन फ्रॉम द स्कूल बैकग्राउंड, that recently, in the past 3 year span, after the announcement of the national education policy, CBSE has made a special provision. And that special provision is that along with your regular subjects, children can opt for special skill subjects. So there are plenty of skill subjects. There is choice of 45 skill subjects in the class 9th and 10th. And there is possibility of 29 subjects at the class 11th and 12th level. And what kind of subjects are there? There are various subjects which are catering to the modern needs of the society, जैसे artificial intelligence, डेटा साइंसेस, कोडिंग, ऐसे कोर्सेज भी हैं. ऐसे कोर्सेज भी हैं जो फिजिकल ट्रेनर, योगा स्किल ट्रेनर. सो व्हाट वी डिड, वी आइडेंटिफाई द चिल्ड्रन, those who are very good in the sports, those who have more kinesthetic abilities and want to play more, है ना, want to be involved more in the physical exercises or activities. To them we gave the choice of opting for physical trainer subject. And to the others, those who are more handy with the technological skills, for them we offered them artificial intelligence skill subject. So what is happening, this is satisfying their needs also. So their intellectual needs and their innate abilities. And the second is that with these kind of courses, when they are opting them as an additional subject along with their normal subject, so they are also preparing themselves to be employable in the coming years. So a curriculum, like we are not able to deviate from the courses which are offered by the CBSE, but according to the knowledge that what additional can be done for the students, which is within the provision of the CBSE curriculum, the choice has been offered to the students. You should be aware of that what kind of curriculum flexibility is there and how that can be the opportunities can be given to the students as per their needs. Then is many of the skill subjects are there where which can be given to the students who are coming from such backgrounds where they feel more happy getting those kind of skill trainings. Okay. Then is And how we expand pathways for access and success for our workforce. So first is our division or department actively values and seeks to hire a diverse staff. आपके अपने यहाँ आप देख सकते हैं कि डाइवर्सिटी है क्या स्टाफ मेंबर्स में. डू दे बिलोंग टू डिफरेंट रिलीजन, डू दे बिलोंग टू डिफरेंट जेंडर्स, डू दे बिलोंग टू डिफरेंट cultural ethnicity, do they speak different languages, and so on. We employ best practices for fair and inclusive hire and advancement, such as active outreach to underrepresented communities, appointing diverse hiring committees, using clear hiring criteria, supporting professional development and career advancement for current staff, regularly using campus affirmative action goals and other workforce data, etc. So this is for the best practices for the inclusive staff. Staff from the underrepresented identity groups are proportionally represented in the leadership and management position as compared with their overall numbers in the department or division. Now it says not only the teaching faculty but the administrative faculty also can be having the diverse representation. All staff have divisional or departmental support to continue their professional growth. Now, whether the staff members or anybody belonging to the different groups, diversity चाहे जितनी भी है, लेकिन professional growth opportunities और career advancement program same है सबके लिए. We provide mentoring opportunities for all levels of staff and management internally and through other campus venues. So, ये भी मेंटरिंग अपॉर्चुनिटीज भी है. और मेंटरिंग अपॉर्चुनिटीज का मतलब बेसिकली ये कि sometimes a person find misfit in in the institutional environment. Now that does not mean that the person is not competent enough or is not willing. So if some kind of hand holding or the mentoring is required for such person or any new induction, then are those kind of opportunities available so that a sense of belongingness can be developed and the person will be able to give his or her best to the institution. We provide staff with opportunities to engage in community based learning and public services. Possible, then we have a succession plan that ensures diversity in our workforce in the coming years. Our managers and staff engage in professional development and or dialogue about topics related to the equity, inclusion, and diversity, and use performance management tools to track and build our capacity in this area. Now, this says that even in the staff meetings or in the meetings with the authorities, these kind of issues shall be developed. So there shall be a culture of dialogue and not monologue or no log. Silent mode में भी नहीं रहना चाहिए. So if these kind of issues requires any kind of discussions, then open discussion should be held in the staff meetings, in the meetings with the management, within the faculty themselves, even with the students. We provide fair and transparent recognition process for achieving excellence across all staff positions. So this point actually means that there is no partial decision taken. There is no partiality for any kind of staff members based on their physical abilities or disabilities or other kind of disabilities or other kind of diversities. Then the next is how we expand pathways for access and success for our clients. Now, first they talked about the vision and goal. Then they talked about that how the data is taken into account to make new policies. Then it was about hiring of the staff and their trainings. And now it is about the access and success of the clients. And the clients here simply means the students in your case. So our division or department values and seeks to support our students, faculty, and or staff clients with diverse racial, ethnic, gender, socioeconomic, immigrant, international, sexual orientation, disabilities or abilities, and religious backgrounds in our program and services. So you can think about it that whether your answer is yes or no or somewhat or don't know. Direct support is provided wherever needed to ensure the needs of our clients from all backgrounds are met. So when I am reading here word our clients, that simply means our students or the staff members. We provide support for critical transition for students, faculty, and staff. For example, first year of college, assistant to associate professor, non manager to manager, that is based on the best practices in the field, and we track and measure our success. So, transition for the critical transition, also the support is required. So, some kind of hand holding for everyone is available. We talk regularly with our clients about equity, inclusion, and diversity. So that means with the students also these kind of issues shall be discussed, and uh, such as cross cultural understanding, and provide resources to them for support. So that means some kind of programs can be curated where all types of communities and the people from the different cultures, they come together and they try to bridge in the gaps between the cultures, or at least they try to make everyone each other familiar with their cultures. So cultural confluence should be there. Possible additions, some more points added by the universities: we employ advising and mentoring practices and partnerships to our student clients to provide greater impact to their graduation and retention rates. We employ mentoring practices and partnerships with our staff or faculty to provide greater impact to their hiring and advancement rates. And the last is we engage in study and dialogue with the student or staff or faculty. We serve about topics related to the equity, inclusion, and diversity. And this kind of learning is valued by our division or the department. So, how the vision and mission of the management or the school leader or the institution leader can reach to the students and faculty members, it is discussed here. Then visible images and materials throughout our welcoming and inclusive our workspaces are welcoming and inclusive to diverse groups. For example, they include positive multicultural images, reflect the experiences of multiple communities, offer messages of equity and inclusion, and showcase our own diversity. Now this is very interesting. uh, Visible images and materials throughout our workspaces are welcoming, एक चीज, and inclusive to the diverse groups. I would like to quote one example here. You know, in the national education policy, we talk about the India rootedness, भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा, और भारतीय भारतीयता की बात हम बहुत करते हैं. तो हमने अपने विद्यालय में एक एक्सपेरिमेंट किया दैट इट इज नॉट पॉसिबल to teach Indian knowledge systems, Indian cultural traditions, unless until the children they are well acquainted with India itself. And for that we cannot, we understand that we cannot facilitate the tours to all the places. तो हमने क्या किया, पूरे भारत को एक स्कूल में समाने के लिए, उसको लाने के लिए डिफरेंट स्टेट्स के फोक आर्टिस्ट को स्कूल में इनवाइट किया, और उन आर्टिस्ट को इनवाइट करने के बाद हमने उनसे ट्रेनिंग दिलवाई स्टूडेंट्स को, उनकी जो लोक कलाएं हैं वो सिखाने के लिए. सो दे स्टार्टेड लर्निंग देयर फोक आर्ट्स. फॉर एग्जांपल, राजस्थान का फड़ आर्ट है, बिहार का मधुबनी है, मध्य प्रदेश का गोंद आर्ट है, आंध्र प्रदेश का कलमकारी है, बंगाल का पटचित्र है. इस तरह के डिफरेंट आर्ट्स को बच्चों ने उन लोक कलाकारों से सीखा, और सीखने के बाद दीवारों पर वो पेंटिंग्स, 200 फीट की पेंटिंग्स उन्होंने बनाई. तो पूरे स्कूल में पूरे हिंदुस्तान का एक कल्चर रिफ्लेक्ट होता है. एंड एवरी टाइम व्हेन द स्टूडेंट्स दे पास थ्रू दोज पैसेजेस, वो उनको माइंड में वो जो चीजें हैं वो हमेशा के लिए वो एंडोर्स हो जाएंगी कि यहाँ का आर्टिस्ट ऐसा है, यहाँ की जो कला है, यहाँ का आर्ट ऐसा है, इस ये आर्ट का शुरुआत क्यों हुआ, मतलब ये सारी ट्रेनिंग उनको साथ में प्रोवाइड की कि कोई भी जो आर्ट फॉर्म है उसकी बिगिनिंग कैसे होती है, उसमें कौन से कलर्स यूज होते हैं, उसमें कौन सी विधाएं यूज हो रही हैं एंड ऑल. So, students coming from the different background, cultural backgrounds, they are also able to see that something from their state is there on the walls of the school. So the sense of belongingness is increased. So that means multicultural images, they can be the part of the university or the college walls, and they can give uh, more feelings and emotions. They can add more feelings and more emotions to the students belonging to the different communities, and will connect them more. We use the data from the campus surveys and other reports to help understand our climate needs, as well as how we can become leaders on campus in creating a fully welcoming and inclusive environment for all students, faculty, and staff. Our staff, as well as our physical spaces, provide a comfortable environment for discussion of personal and academic topics related to the race, ethnicity, gender identity, religion, sexual orientation, socioeconomic status, disabilities, and other areas of diversity. So now, after looking at this, this was something created by one university to modify, to analyze their own vision and mission, and to analyze their own activities and the culture or the environment of their institution. Now I would like you to spend few minutes, and you will be writing in the chat box. Take some time, 5 to 7 minutes. Just close your eyes and start looking back 3 to 5 years, and also start looking ahead 3 to 5 years, and envision your division or department with hopes and ideas in relation to equity, inclusion, and diversity. So you can write your vision statement about your own department, about your own institution, and you can, when you start writing your vision statement or you start visualizing something for your department, you can reflect on these questions: that if we are successful in advancing equity, inclusion, and diversity in our programs and services, workspace, workforce, what would that will be after 5 years from now in research, teaching, and public service, in expanding pathway success, in fostering and engaging and healthy campus climate. आप कुछ भी points include कर सकते हैं इसमें से, आप सारे चाहे सारे points include कर सकते हैं. And what changes you hope to achieve for yourself, for your students, and for your department, for your campus. So please spend 3 to 5 minutes in thinking about this and writing this vision, and start writing your vision after 5 minutes in the chat box. And then we will be discussing over that. You can also see a goal development worksheet on your screen. So you can take the help of this to write your vision statement. So some of you have started writing. I would like you to unmute yourself and share your vision and mission with everyone. I could see one from Dr. Kamran Abbas. Dr. Kamran, you have written that your vision is to promote understanding of animal science through education and research. Now, and mission is to provide students with the knowledge and skills in zoological science. But this vision and mission is with reference to your subject. Uh, so instead of subject, you have to write your vision and mission in order to make your department inclusive. So you have to write your vision and mission with that reference, not with reference to the subject. Then is written by Dr. Bhagwat Sukhdev. He has written his vision as Ahmednagar College is committed to creating a transformative environment for its students and staff to enrich themselves by achieving excellence in their diverse pursuits and to creating value-based academic milieu that ensures every student's emergence with a discerning mind, global competence, and preparedness for a proactive role in effecting change in their own life, their immediate society, the nation, and world at large. So, sir, this is the umbrella vision and mission statement. I just wanted you to write the vision and statement with reference to the equity and inclusive university or the college or the department environment. Ms. Beena Sengar has written mission as to bring equity, knowledge, and cooperation among communities and learners. And vision is to develop getting quite frequent. Yes. To develop learning potential among learners for IKS global cooperation. So, again, I am repeating my statement that please write your vision and mission in order to make your department or your campus inclusive in the sense that how welcoming you will be for the learners who are coming from the different cultures, different genders, different religion, different region, different languages, and with different abilities or the disabilities. So how you will be inclusive for them? Write your vision and mission for that, in light of that only. आदित्य जी ने बहुत शॉर्टकट में बहुत वो कर दिया. विजन है एजुकेशन फॉर ऑल एंड मिशन है एम्पावरिंग फ्यूचर जनरेशन. दैट्स क्वाइट गुड सर, लेकिन अगर इसके अंदर आप इंक्लूजन और इक्विटी को थोड़ी जगह और दे दे तो ये बहुत अच्छा बन जाएगा. डॉक्टर इमरान ने लिखा है ऑफरिंग सपोर्ट, प्रोवाइडिंग accommodations एंड टूल्स नीडेड टू हेल्प इंडिविजुअल्स overcome challenges and thrive. Okay, very good. Providing fair opportunities, making sure individuals with disabilities having equal chances to succeed in learning, working, and other activities. Creative, inclusive spaces, making classrooms, workspace, and events welcoming and supportive for all abilities. Or raising awareness, teaching students, teachers, staff to respect and understand the needs of people with disabilities. So, Dr. Imran ने चार डोमेन्स में इसको कवर कर दिया है. ऑफरिंग सपोर्ट, प्रोवाइडिंग फेयर अपॉर्चुनिटीज, क्रिएटिंग इंक्लूसिव स्पेसेस एंड रेजिंग अवेयरनेस. थम्स अप सर. आप इसको बस थोड़ा सा और कंसाइज कर सकते हैं, थोड़ा छोटा कर सकते हैं. अदरवाइज ये भी अगर आपके सब दीवारों के ऊपर लिखा हो तो इट इज गोइंग टू गिव अ वेरी पॉजिटिव मैसेज टू ऑल. Dr. Prakash N. Kamble has written, if we observe the present scenarios of education from class 10 to PG or also PhD, near about everywhere passing percentage with excellent marks is becoming easy without attending any lectures and other necessary attempts. How education will be improved? Sir, ये तो इम्प्रूव हमें ही करनी पड़ेगी. हम वी कैन नॉट पास द बॉल टू somebody else's court. As a teacher, how many learning opportunities and what kind of learning environments we are giving? हमारे असाइनमेंट्स कितने चैलेंजिंग है उनके लिए, जिसका आंसर उनको किसी गूगल या चैट जीपीटी या आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस को यूज करके ना मिले और उनको खुद से सोचना पड़े, सेल्फ एनालिसिस करना पड़े, तो ये तो हमें ही करना पड़ेगा. Then is Dr. Abdul Mukeet. He has written to inspire every child's uniqueness and enable them to grow holistically by developing a solid foundation of skills, values, knowledge, and creating opportunities to contribute towards society at large. Yes, sir, uh, you have written that you would like to inspire every child with his unique potential. It's very nice. Mr. Rohit Thosar has written, vision is dynamic education with comprehensive conceptual clarification. सर ये तो हमको करना ही है. हम इंक्लूजन और इक्विटी के लिए क्या कर सकते हैं इस सब के साथ में, हमें वो लिखना है. मिशन आपने लिखा है अमेलगमेशन ऑफ टीचिंग फैसिलिटीज टू डेवलप अ यूनिवर्सल एजुकेशनल एक्सेस. यस, यूनिवर्सल एजुकेशनल एक्सेस इज वेरी मच रिक्वायर्ड. सो दिस इज गुड. डॉक्टर कामरान अब्बास आपने लिखा है टू किंडल द लाइट ऑफ नॉलेज. सर इसके साथ इंक्लूजन और इक्विटी को ऐड करिए कहीं. लाइक टू किंडल द लाइट ऑफ नॉलेज इन एवरी चाइल्ड डिस्पाइट ऑफ हिज बैकग्राउंड, हिज एजुकेशनल और सोशल और इकोनॉमिक बैकग्राउंड, ऐसा करके भी हम लिख सकते हैं. सो आई होप कि आप लोग अपने अपने डिपार्टमेंट के लिए विजन और मिशन स्टेटमेंट्स बनाएंगे, जिससे सबको ये मैसेज मिले, आपके फैकल्टी मेंबर्स को भी, आपके स्टूडेंट्स को भी, आपके बाकी स्टाफ मेंबर्स को भी, कि यू आर इंक्लूसिव इन योर अप्रोच एंड यू आर रेडी टू वेलकम ऑल, you are ready to embrace all despite of their different um, attributes, so despite of the different virtues they have. Then is गोल डेवलपमेंट वर्कशीट. सो ये गोल डेवलपमेंट वर्कशीट का बेसिकली पर्पस ये है कि आपको जो विजन और मिशन स्टेटमेंट है वो लिखने में मदद मिले, क्योंकि आप सबसे पहले ये लिखिए कि आप व्हाट इज द अपॉर्चुनिटी और चैलेंज, द नीड और द न्यू डायरेक्शन यू वुड लाइक टू परसू. कहाँ पर आप देना चाहते हैं, कौन सा न्यू डायरेक्शन देना चाहते हैं, कौन सा चैलेंज आपको लग रहा है आपके सामने है, कौन सी अपॉर्चुनिटी आप क्रिएट कर सकते हैं. सो प्रायोरिटी वो उसको आप यहाँ पर पॉइंटर्स में लिखना शुरू करें. उसके बाद रेलेवेंट फैक्टर्स एंड अजम्पशंस. ये आपको क्या लग रहा है कि रेलेवेंट फैक्टर्स कौन से हैं जिसको आपको प्रायोरिटी देनी चाहिए. जैसे कि इन्होंने एक एग्जांपल दिया कि आवर ऑफिसेज आर डिस्पर्स्ड इन मेनी लोकेशंस इवन सम ऑफ कैंपस वंस. तो यहाँ पर अब सारे कैंपस को जोड़ने के लिए और उनको एक्सेसिबल सबके लिए बनाने के लिए क्या करना पड़ेगा, इनका ये चैलेंज है ना. फिर आप लिखिए आपके लॉन्ग टर्म गोल क्या है और शॉर्ट टर्म गोल क्या है, और उन लॉन्ग टर्म गोल्स और शॉर्ट टर्म गोल्स के लिए फिर आप अपनी स्ट्रैटेजीज लिखिए. और स्ट्रैटेजीज जब आपने लिख ली कि मैं ये स्ट्रैटेजी बनाऊंगा, तो फिर उसका अप्रहेंडेड आउटकम क्या होगा, तो डिलीवरेबल्स क्या हैं वो आपको लिखने हैं. तो जैसे एक एग्जांपल इन्होंने लिया कि एनहांस द ट्रेनिंग ऑन क्रॉस कल्चरल कम्युनिकेशन एंड इंक्लूसिव वर्क प्लेस. तो उसके लिए जो भी स्ट्रैटेजी इन्होंने बनाई यहाँ पर ये लिख रहे हैं कि डेवलप एंड स्टाफ एंड ऑल स्टाफ ट्रेनिंग प्लान विद कैंपस पार्टनर्स फॉर द एनरोलमेंट इन द मल्टीकल्चरल एजुकेशन. आप एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल में देती हूँ. अगर आपको लग रहा है कि मान लीजिए आपने कभी कोई अपना कैंपस का एनालिसिस किया कि आपके कैंपस पे सपोज 500 स्टूडेंट्स आते हैं पढ़ने के लिए, उन 500 स्टूडेंट से आपने एक सर्वे किया कि उनकी मदर टंग क्या है, या विच अदर लैंग्वेज अपार्ट फ्रॉम हिंदी और इंग्लिश दे नो. सो यू विल फाइंड प्लेंटी ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन. आपको पता चलेगा कि हमको कभी नोटिस में नहीं आया. मैं अपने स्कूल का मैं बताती हूँ कि मैंने जब ये सर्वे किया तो आई केम टू नो दैट आई हैव स्टूडेंट्स who are from such different backgrounds that if they all start speaking their language, so at least 29 languages can be spoken in the school. अब वो 29 लैंग्वेजेस के लिए उनको आप कैसे उनको वेलकम कर सकते हो? अगर क्लास में क्लास टीचर ने एक छोटा सा ही प्रैक्टिस शुरू कर दिया कि चलो आप अपनी अपनी लैंग्वेज में एक दूसरे को ग्रीट करो या आप अपने ग्रीटिंग सिखाओ, तो उनका जो एक लव फॉर द लैंग्वेज है वो इंक्रीज हो जाएगा. वो इतनी सारी भाषाएं सीख जाएंगे. और एक सबसे बड़ा हमारे यहाँ हमारे एजुकेशन सिस्टम में जो मैं ऑब्जर्व कर रही हूँ इतने सालों से, वो ये है कि देयर इज ए बिग डिस्कनेक्ट बिटवीन द होम कल्चर एंड द स्कूल कल्चर. अक्सर बच्चों को लगता है कि आर होम कल्चर इज नॉट द पार्ट ऑफ द स्कूल कल्चर, यानी वो फॉर्मल कल्चर का पार्ट नहीं हो सकता. जो वेशभूषा वहां है, जो भाषा वहां है, जिस तरह का बिहेवियर वहां है, वो घर में नहीं हो सकता, घर वाला वहां पे नहीं हो सकता. So some line is to be drawn between the formal and the non-formal atmosphere, but that does not mean that they start learning to hate their own languages. ये नहीं होना चाहिए. हमें अंग्रेजी भाषा पढ़नी है क्योंकि वो ग्लोबल लैंग्वेज है और हमारे वर्क स्पेस की लैंग्वेज वो हो सकती है ऑफिशियल उसकी. इसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि मैं हिंदी को या मराठी को या गुजराती को बोलना जो है वो उसको लो ग्रेड समझना शुरू कर दूं या उसको उसको ना बोलना पसंद करूं. तो वो नहीं होना चाहिए. सो लव फॉर लैंग्वेज कैन बी क्रिएटेड इफ वी स्टार्ट रिस्पेक्टिंग ईच अदर्स लैंग्वेज. सो दिस इज अ small example of making the environment inclusive for the children. So you are giving indication to all that yes, we love you all with your own different languages and we respect your language and we are ready to learn your language. So I just want you to write the vision and the mission statement with this kind of mindset. For your own subject or for the general education system, the vision and mission statement, it is easy to write. But with this specific goal, we have to be more thoughtful that what exactly we want to achieve out of this. Why inclusion is necessary, why diversity is necessary, why I feel that it is important. It is not because it is a matter of policy and it is written in the document, but what is my personal intake about this, my what is my personal thought about this, that why the diversity should be respected, why the culture should be inclusive, why we should talk about equity in the environment. So ये हम अपनी फिलॉसफी और अपना विजन पहले गढ़े हैं. उसके बाद हम अगर लिखना शुरू करेंगे तो हमें ज्यादा क्लैरिटी होगी कि हम क्या करना चाहते हैं और क्यों करना चाहते हैं और क्यों उसको नेसेसरी समझ रहे हैं. तो मुझे लगता है कि एज टीचर हम सब लोग मिलकर के वी कैन क्रिएट अ वेरी गुड एटमॉस्फेयर इन आवर स्कूल्स. थोड़ा सा मेरे प्रेजेंटेशन इधर उधर हो गया था. मैं आपको एक क्विक वो दिखा देती हूँ कि जब हम बैरियर फ्री इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की बात कर रहे थे तो जो मेजर बैरियर्स जो उन लोगों ने स्कूल के बाहर खड़े होकर के ऑब्जर्व किए थे वो क्या क्या थे. एक तो मैंने आपको बताया था कि गार्बेज कलेक्शन, दूसरा ग्राउंड लेवल डिफरेंस एंट्रीज के पास में, तीसरा स्मॉल डोर्स एंट्री का, चौथा है लैक ऑफ टेक्टाइल वार्निंग एंड गाइडिंग टाइल्स एट एंट्री, और पांचवा था स्पीड लिमिट साइनेजेस नहीं है दोनों साइड्स पर रोड के, और अनइवन स्टेप राइजर्स हैं एट मैनी एंट्री डोर स्टेप्स. तो इस सब के लिए पॉलिसी क्या बनाई गई थी? कॉरिडोर्स और स्टेयर केस के लिए अलग बनाया गया कि जो ऑब्स्टेकल्स है कॉरिडोर्स में वो नहीं होने चाहिए. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर ओपन विंडोज हैं, डोर्स हैं, कई बार क्या होता है कॉरिडोर में से बच्चा जा रहा है, क्लासरूम की विंडो बाहर की तरफ खुली है और उसका सर टकरा रहा है उससे, या डोर से वो टकरा रहा है, तो वो उसके चलने में बैरियर हो सकता है. तो इस तरह की चीजें, डोर इसका मतलब क्लासरूम के अंदर खुले, कॉरिडोर के अंदर ना खुले. खिड़कियां ऐसी होनी चाहिए जो स्लाइडिंग हो. अगर वो डोर खुल करके वो बच्चे को क्लासरूम के बाहर क्लासरूम के अंदर या कॉरिडोर में कहीं ऑब्स्टेकल बन रहा है तो वो ना हो। पैरापेट वॉल हो इंस्टेड ऑफ रेलिंग विच इज सेफ्टी फॉर नॉट टू होल्ड द स्टेयरकेस। अनइवन स्टेप राइजर्स ना हो स्टेयर्स के ऊपर। रेलिंग प्रॉपर होनी चाहिए। तो ये ऐसी चीजें इसलिए एक आई बाला स्ट्रक्चर गुजरात में जो है वो ये सबसे पहले इनिशिएट किया गया। और इस आई बाला का मतलब है इंक्लूसिव बिल्डिंग एज लर्निंग एड। तो लर्निंग के लिए ये भी जरूरी है कि बिल्डिंग भी इंक्लूसिव हो। हमारा माइंडसेट तो हो ही और हमारा करिकुलम भी हो, लेकिन बिल्डिंग का भी इंक्लूसिव होना जरूरी है। सो these are some of the things, and I hope that I am able to give some insight into the special into the diversity and inclusive environment, if not all. And if you now want to say anything, then we can discuss. Any questions, any comments are welcome. And for all, I would like to say, Vayam Rashtra Jagrya Purohita. That means we as leaders vigilantly stands for the nation and its welfare. So, Mr. Bamu, I request you to allow them to unmute themselves, and if they want to speak anything, any queries, any comments.
Yes, I am now giving permission. The participant can unmute themselves. सभी लोग आप मैडम से कोई अगर सवाल है तो आप पूछ सकते हो। आपको अनुमति है अभी कि आप माइक म्यूट कर अनम्यूट कर सकते।
मैडम मेरा पहला क्वेश्चन ये है
जी।
कि फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन जो रहता है तो उसकी वजह से लर्निंग बैरियर्स क्रिएट होते हैं, स्पेशली सीबीएसई स्कूल में, तो वो सॉल्व कैसे करेंगे?
फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन के लिए तो देखिए बहुत सारे प्रोविजन है। पहली बात तो ये है कि जब अभी हमने राइट टू एजुकेशन एक्ट करा था डिस्कस, उसके अकॉर्डिंगली 25% स्टूडेंट्स जो इकोनॉमिकली डिसएडवांटेज ग्रुप के हैं वो हर स्कूल को उनको फ्री एजुकेशन देनी है। और नॉट ओनली द फ्री एजुकेशन इन द सेंस कि उनका ट्यूशन फीस वेव ऑफ है, उनको फ्री बुक्स और फ्री यूनिफॉर्म भी देना है। दूसरा मैंने ये डिस्कस किया था कि जेंडर इंक्लूजन फंड क्रिएट किए गए हैं। बहुत सारी स्कॉलरशिप्स सरकार की तरफ से किया गया है। अब बहुत बार क्या होता है कि हमको पता ही नहीं है कि प्रोविजन क्या है। फॉर एग्जाम्पल देर इज अ डिपार्टमेंट SC ST वेलफेयर डिपार्टमेंट है। राइट फ्रॉम द बिगिनिंग बच्चा जब क्लास नर्सरी से स्कूल में जा रहा है, अगर पेरेंट्स ने उसके ऊपर रजिस्टर करा लिया है तो उनकी फीस अप टू 45,000 रुपीज मेरा ख्याल है पर एनम वापिस आ जाती है। वो अगर अपने स्कूल का जिस स्कूल में भी बच्चा पढ़ रहा है उस स्कूल के पास रिक्वेस्ट आती है वेरीफाई करने के लिए कि बच्चा आपके स्कूल में पढ़ रहा है या नहीं पढ़ रहा। पढ़ रहा है तो आपकी फीस क्या है, और इन्होंने फीस पे कर दी। जितनी फीस पेरेंट्स ने पे करी है वो उतना लगभग फीस जो है वो वापिस आ जाता है। तो प्रोविजन बहुत सारे हैं, लेकिन इसी प्रकार से माइनॉरिटी के लिए भी है। सो माइनॉरिटी कमीशन और SC ST कमीशन जो बने हुए हैं उसमें राइट फ्रॉम नर्सरी डे 1 से जब आप बच्चे को एडमिट करा रहे हो आपको सरकार की तरफ से पैसा वापस आता है, लेकिन अप्लाई करना पड़ेगा और वो जाकर के वो आपको देखना पड़ेगा। तो बहुत सारी स्कॉलरशिप्स हैं जो गवर्नमेंट ने करी हुई है 10th क्लास के एग्जाम के बाद, 12th क्लास के एग्जाम के बाद, लेकिन ये सबका नॉलेज होना जरूरी है।
Hello,
जी।
am I audible?
यस प्लीज।
हाँ
आप ऑडिबल हैं सर।
हाँ yes ma'am, we try our level best to bring in positive visible changes in the institution, and the thing is that we always approach to holistic education. But my question is all about the display on the website or the institutional website. So if you think about sign language, so how sign language can be displayed on the institutional websites?
नहीं, ऑन द इंस्टीट्यूशनल वेबसाइट्स आप साइन लैंग्वेज को डिस्प्ले करना चाहते हैं तो आप ये लिख सकते हो वहां पर कि आपके यहाँ ये आपके इंस्टीट्यूशन में ये प्रोविजन है कि साइन लैंग्वेज को यूज किया जाता है और साइनेजेस हर लोकेशन के ऊपर लगे हुए हैं. सो साइनेजेस हर लोकेशन पर लगे होने का मतलब कि आपने जो सिंबॉलिक, जैसे मैंने दिखाया था कि ड्रिंकिंग वाटर है तो आपने टैप का फोटोग्राफ बना रखा है ना, वो सिग्नेजेस हैं. और साइन लैंग्वेज का मतलब ये है कि साइन लैंग्वेज तो डिस्प्ले नहीं हो सकती, मतलब वेबसाइट पे डिस्प्ले नहीं हो सकती, लेकिन आपके यहाँ कोई भी आपके यहाँ कॉन्फ्रेंस हो रहा है, सिंपोजियम हो रहा है, लेक्चर हो रहा है, उसमें उसके साथ में जो स्पीकर है उसके पीछे वो पर्सन जिसको वो साइन लैंग्वेज आती है वो रहे साथ में और वो उसको इंटरप्रेट करता जाए साइन लैंग्वेज में, इफ देर इज सम चाइल्ड इन द ऑडियंस हु रिक्वायर्स दैट.
And one more thing I want to ask you, that what are the rights of disabled children at the
अभी आपको जो मैंने बताया है बहुत सारे राइट्स उनके पास हैं. तो पीडब्ल्यूडी एक्ट की कॉपी आप गूगल से भी डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं, आप अपनी लाइब्रेरी में रखिए. ये डॉक्यूमेंट्स तो स्कूल लाइब्रेरीज में और यूनिवर्सिटी लाइब्रेरीज में होने ही चाहिए, जितने भी एक्ट मैंने बताए हैं. तो आरपीडब्ल्यूडी एक्ट में लिखा हुआ है कि किस किस को कौन कौन सी डिसेबिलिटीज को कंसिडर किया जाएगा, उनके लिए एजुकेशनली क्या प्रोविजन है, उनके लिए जॉब्स में वो जा रहे हैं एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी में क्या प्रोविजन है, उनके लिए किस तरह की स्कॉलरशिप्स या जो क्या बोलना चाहिए उसको डिसेबिलिटी कोई फंड का प्रोविजन है. ये सारी चीजों के प्रोविजन आप वो आरपीडब्ल्यूडी एक्ट की कॉपी जरूर रखें. तो एक एक चीज आपको वहां से मिल जाएगी लिखित में. और अब तो प्रोविजन ऐसे बन रहे हैं क्योंकि उनके लिए इंश्योरेंस में भी, हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस को लेकर के भी बहुत सारे प्रोविजंस बनाए जा रहे हैं. दिल्ली में तो अभी मतलब ये भी हुआ है कि गवर्नमेंट ने कुछ कैंप लगा करके उनको फंड्स भी प्रोवाइड किए कि जब तक वो पढ़ रहे हैं बच्चे उनका कितना स्कूल में फीस आएगा. इनफैक्ट जो मैंने अभी राइट टू एजुकेशन एक्ट की बात करी थी, राइट टू एजुकेशन एक्ट में भी अगर जो 25% स्टूडेंट्स जो डिसएडवांटेज कैटेगरी के हैं उसमें भी ये प्रोविजन है कि 3% स्टूडेंट डिसेबिलिटी कैटेगरी वाले होंगे जिनको टोटल फ्री एजुकेशन दी जाएगी. दूसरा, गवर्नमेंट ने बहुत सारे ऐसे कोलैबोरेटिव इंस्टीट्यूशंस बना दिए गए हैं या सेंटर बना दिए गए हैं जहां पर इन बच्चों को थेरेपीज भी फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट मिलती है. किसी को ऑक्यूपेशनल थेरेपी चाहिए, किसी को स्पीच थेरेपी चाहिए, किसी को कोई न्यूरोमस्कुलर थेरेपी चाहिए, तो ये थेरेपीज का भी फ्री प्रोविजन है. गवर्नमेंट ने ऐसे बहुत से सेंटर्स. तो हर स्टेजेस के राइट्स और प्रोविजंस अलग होंगे. वो सब कुछ तो एक बार में डिस्कस नहीं हो सकता, लेकिन ये सारे डॉक्यूमेंट्स को आप जरूर गूगल से सर्च करिए और आप अपने पास रखिए. कौन कौन से डॉक्यूमेंट होने चाहिए अगर आप ये कहेंगे तो मैं एक लिस्ट शेयर कर लूंगी.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Madam, I want to read a vision and mission made here. Can I read out?
यस, हाँ प्लीज.
Vision. So I am from Sant Jnaneshwar Mahavidyalaya, Soegaon, district Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar. The vision is lead in holistic education, fostering an inclusive environment where all students excel. Mission, Sant Jnaneshwar Mahavidyalaya Soegaon aims to empower students with knowledge, skills, and values, create an equitable and inclusive learning environment, support students with deformities, celebrate diversity in all forms, ensure fair and equitable access to education for all, foster a sense of belonging and respect for all. So this is made.
एक्सीलेंट सर, बस इसको थोड़ा क्रिस्प कर लीजिए. बहुत अच्छा लिखा है आपने
Okay,
और
thank you.
अपने सारे पॉइंट्स को इंक्लूड कर लिया.
Thank you. Thank you.
वेरी नाइस. तो अब ये जैसे आपने विजन और मिशन स्टेटमेंट लिखी है ना, इसके साथ में ही आप जो मैंने नेक्स्ट फॉर्म सिखाए थे कि आप अपना लार्ज टर्म गोल और शॉर्ट टर्म गोल और फिर उसके लिए क्या स्ट्रैटेजीज और क्या उसके आप आउटकम सोच रहे हैं कि होंगे एट द एंड ऑफ द ईयर. मैंने आज ये पॉलिसी बनाई है तो एट द एंड ऑफ ईयर मैं क्या अचीव करने वाला हूँ इससे. जैसे मैंने आपको एक लैंग्वेज का ही सिंपल सा एग्जांपल दिया। तो आपकी सिचुएशन में वहां पर आप ऐसे कई एग्जांपल्स ढूंढ सकते हैं। हो सकता है किसी एरिया में आप हो जहाँ पे गर्ल्स एजुकेशन को प्रमोट ही नहीं किया जाता, तो आपके कॉलेज की मदद से अगर आपने वहाँ पे कैंपेन्स चलाए, अवेयरनेस प्रोग्राम चलाए, आपने लोगों को मोटिवेट किया कि नहीं आप लड़कियों को पढ़ने के लिए भेजो, उनको हायर एजुकेशन के लिए भी भेजो। सो आप प्रॉब्लम आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हो कि यहाँ मेरे एरिया में ये प्रॉब्लम है, मुझे इसको केटर करना है, और वो आप अपना लिखो कि ये मेरा इस साल का ये मिशन है, और मैं लास्ट में मतलब ये मेरा शॉर्ट टर्म गोल है और मैं इसके बाद में ये अचीव करना चाह रहा हूँ। ऐसी प्रिसाइज चीजें आप मतलब मिशन और विजन तो जैसा आपने लिखा है बहुत अच्छा लिखा हुआ है। अब इसके बाद जो आपको शॉर्ट टर्म गोल्स और वो स्ट्रैटेजीज लिखनी है वो आप इस तरह से सोच के लिखिए। तो आपको फिर ना एट द एंड ऑफ द ईयर यू विल फील सेटिस्फाइड कि हमने जो सोचा था, हम एक ऑब्जेक्टिव को लेकर के चले थे एंड वी आर एबल टू अचीव दिस ऑब्जेक्टिव। हम अरे जिले के चलो 100% लड़कियां नहीं पढ़ी तो कम से कम 15% आई इस साल स्कूल में। मैंने गुजरात में मैं एक एरिया को विजिट किया, उसका नाम है चलाला। ये अहमदाबाद से 270 किलोमीटर दूर है, और वहाँ का जो माहौल है वो ऐसा है कि गिर फॉरेस्ट के पास में है, तो शेर कभी भी घूमते फिरते आ जाते हैं, तो लड़कियों को पढ़ने ही नहीं दिया जाता था, जाती नहीं थी वो स्कूल में। अब पीछे कुछ लोगों ने एफर्ट्स करके वहाँ स्कूल शुरू करवाया गर्ल्स के लिए, और वो उसका असर ये हुआ देखिए इतनी जल्दी कि वहां पर फिर गवर्नमेंट इंटरवेंशन से एक रक्षा शक्ति विद्यालय खुल गया, जहां गर्ल्स की एजुकेशन टोटली फ्री है, और उनको जो है वो हर तरह की ट्रेनिंग दी जाती है। उनका क्लास 6 to क्लास 12 एंट्रेंस एग्जाम के बेसिस पर वो आते हैं बच्चे, और सीबीएसई की एकेडमिक ट्रेनिंग, जो और एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज हैं, जूडो, कराटे, ताइक्वांडो, सेल्फ डिफेंस, ये वो सब तरह की ट्रेनिंग्स उनके लिए टोटल फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट है। और उससे मोटिवेट होकर के वहीं उसी विलेज के एक व्यक्ति जो सालों पहले अमेरिका चले गए थे, अभी उन्होंने वहां पर 4 करोड़ रुपया की मदद दे करके उसी स्कूल के ऊपर एक एपीजे अब्दुल कलाम वुमेन साइंटिस्ट सेंटर बनाया, कि जहां पर लड़कियों को वैज्ञानिक बनने के लिए प्रोत्साहन दिया जाए। तो ये उस जगह की जरूरत थी, और वो सबने मिलकर के जब उसके ऊपर काम करना शुरू किया तो जल्दी ही ये टारगेट अचीव कर लिया, 5-6 साल के अंदर ये टारगेट अचीव हो गया। तो कलेक्टिव कॉन्शियसनेस के साथ जब हम काम करते हैं तो रिजल्ट जल्दी मिलते हैं।
Madam, what should be the durability of long-term goals?
सर दिस यू शुड डिसाइड, क्योंकि आप जिस जगह पर है ना वहां की क्या रिक्वायरमेंट है, लोकल कॉन्टेक्स्ट को साथ में कंसिडर करते हुए ही सोचना चाहिए। हम जनरलाइज करके पूरे देश के लिए आपको करने की जरूरत नहीं है, आप जिस जगह पर है वहां आपकी बड़ी अहम भूमिका है। तो हम जिधर हैं हम उसको अपने आप को रिस्पेक्ट करें और अपनी सिग्निफिकेंस को एस्टैब्लिश करें वहां पे। वो वहीं की जो लोकल प्रॉब्लम्स है उसी को सॉर्ट करने के लिए आप काम करो। ठीक है, डॉक्यूमेंट आपके पास सारे होने चाहिए, आपको पता होना चाहिए कि कहाँ कहाँ क्या प्रोविजन है, क्योंकि जब आपको पता होगा कि क्या प्रोविजन है तो आप किसी को भी मदद कर पाओगे। फॉर एग्जाम्पल मैंने अभी बताया कि माइनॉरिटी और SC ST कैटेगरी से जो लोग आ रहे हैं, अब उनको उनके लिए सरकार ने इतना प्रोविजन बना रखा है, बट समटाइम्स दे आर नॉट अवेयर। सो उनको कभी कभी किसी स्टेज पर लगता है कि वो हेल्पलेस हो गए हैं, है ना, मतलब कहीं पे किसी का कोई फाइनेंशियल क्रंच है तो वो हेल्पलेस हो गया, जबकि उसको पता ही नहीं है कि उसको ये तो बिना यहाँ पर तो अभी परफॉर्मेंस और मेरिट की बात भी नहीं हो रही है, आप स्कूल भेज रहे हो। इस बात के लिए भी आपको जो है गवर्नमेंट मोटिवेट कर रही है कि आप भेज रहे हो, बच्चे को पढ़ा रहे हो, तो आप उसको फाइनेंशियल सपोर्ट सरकार दे रही है। पर ये पता होगा तभी अवेल करें। और कोई बहुत लंबा चौड़ा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड प्रोसीजर नहीं है, सब कुछ ऑनलाइन है। ऑनलाइन फॉर्म भरेंगे और ऑनलाइन ही पैसा बैंक में आ जाएगा।
Thank you. Yes.
ओके, थैंक यू। सो एनी अदर क्वेश्चन? कैन वी रैप अप?
Ma'am, send the list, document list.
Somebody saying something I cannot hear properly. Okay. So thank you so much to all of you for being patient listener. And it was nice to interact with you all and listening to you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. I'm not able to.
Oh,